How about that?
Blasting so heavy. Blasting, blasting,
and
blasting.
are we hearing these click sounds? What? Here's a bunch of clicking.
We're not going to be doing a lot of clicking either way.
This is how I click the mouse, though, like this, like rapid fire. Okay. That level looks a little better.
Yeah.
Should we check it?
Yeah, looks good.
Hi. Hello. Guess where we are? Not you. You know the answer. We're at Honest Jams recording studio in Portland, Oregon. This is A. Walker Spring.
Hey, y'all.
And, wait, now I feel like I should just have my first name. Should I be three names and you be one? Let's just both be one name. I'll be Walker.
Both be one name.
Okay. I'm Walker. This is Ayal.
One name.
We are friends, roommates, bandmates, and we also share something else in common. We love writing songs.
Love writing songs. Yeah.
We spend a lot of time writing.
Spend a lot of time and really just wanted to give ourselves an excuse to just write a lot of songs.
So we've challenged each other to write a new song each week based on a prompt.
Based on a prompt that comes randomly from one of our brains. Basically, we think just the creation of art is just like too far polarized in the like perfectionist part of things. And
yeah, we're going to leave perfectionism at the door.
Yeah.
Please check that. Check your perfect.
Along with judgment and anything like that gets in the way of just the flow of making whatever happens to come into your consciousness at that point in time, basically.
So, Ayal, we both already love writing songs, but who, in your opinion, is a candidate for someone who could or should write a song?
It's just, we live in a world where everything is supposed to be so specialized, and any kind of art, my experience with it is that all it takes is doing it, really. So basically anybody that wants to write a song, make any piece of art, you just have to let yourself create the thing. So yeah, everybody basically.
Okay, good. That's my answer too. I was worried for a minute, like, do you have to have a degree or?
Oh yeah, no. Everybody qualifies as a songwriter in my mind. I mean, basic, like if you even just break it down logically, right? Like what is a song? I don't know. Anything can be a song. Like the thing, whatever I'm saying right now can be a song. And you just have to accept that you're at the place where you created that specific thing at that moment in time.
And it's worthwhile in and of itself as an activity, regardless of any public accolades or releasing albums. That's the other thing, is we both play in a bunch of bands, and we would rather be on the creating end of things than on the promoting side of things.
Yes. Although, I mean, there's obviously like room for all that stuff, but there's just so much that goes into, like kind of like officially releasing music into the world, and the process of that bogs down the music in such a way that like you're so far removed from the moment that you made the thing, just because you have to wait for the like promotional cycle to like exist, basically. So
we like starting things. Yeah, we're gonna have to continue with things to keep this podcast going every week.
Yeah,
and we're hoping to eventually include some guest songwriters who will write on the prompt as well.
Yeah, and would encourage anybody that's listening to be a part of a community of people that are writing along every week or whenever you feel like the prompt moves you. And we'll be putting out prompts for people to be able to write along with us, and we'd love to hear anything that anybody creates.
All right, so our theme this week is, appropriately enough, beginnings.
Naturally.
And in addition to writing our songs and sharing them with each other, which are based on the prompt, we're also going to try to find some interesting anecdotes or facts related to the prompt. And for that, we're going to use the internet. What does the internet say on the topic of the day? And if it's wrong, you can let us know by using the internet too.
All right, what do you got for us today?
Well, I thought songwriting, beginnings. What was the beginning of songwriting? So I searched what's the oldest song.
Okay.
And YouTube came through on that with the first known song ever written, called Hurricane Hymn No. 6, originally composed by Syrians about 3,400 years ago. We have to take the recording with a grain of salt because...
It's not the original recording?
It's not the original. The original recording was lost, unfortunately.
The minds of...
And there's no rhythm written into it, so... It's more just an endless scroll of notes. Just notes in a big, long Reddit scroll.
You know, I like it. Okay, so here it is. The oldest song known to humans. What I bought on eBay. That was the oldest song.
There's a little promotion for it there.
All right.
I think it's interesting that ancient Syrians wrote something with the right vibe for an indie film, a quirky indie film.
Like a little Wes Anderson-y.
Yeah, I could see that.
A lot of tweed. All right, what else did you find about beginnings?
Well, I found how some of our favorite songwriters got their start. John Prine is one of my absolute favorites, who is famous for having, fairly simple songs chord-wise, but just amazing tunes. And he learned to play guitar from his older brother, who taught him 3 chords and gave him 2 records. Gave him a Carter family record and an Elizabeth Cotten record. And that was it. He learned from that.
Yeah, all you need is the 3 chords. It is interesting how it doesn't take a whole lot. Like music, there's 3 chords is enough.
1 chord is enough.
Exactly. Like just
that's going to be a
riffing
prompt.
Over your thing. Yeah, 1 chord. Oh yeah,
1 chord. That's all song. You get.
I like it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Maybe that's this week's prompt.
All right, we'll consider it.
It goes into the possibility basket.
We are hoping to find the next week's theme naturally in conversation.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That one's in the running so far.
You got any more facts for us?
Yeah, I just discovered a songwriter this week who's amazing and can't believe I hadn't heard of him before. His name is Moondog, an American avant-garde composer. And he's just all around interesting. He started playing a set of drums that he made from a cardboard box at the age of 5.
Whoa. Did he have sticks? Was he just banging on a box?
Wikipedia doesn't specify whether he made sticks.
Because that seems like
what he made them out of.
Just a lot of babies.
Hands.
A lot of babies bang on cardboard boxes.
Right. And that's what
that might not be unique to Moondog.
And that's what we say around here at Honest Jams. We say, I could bang on pots and pans.
And still kick out some honest jams.
True. We are not really gear people. I mean, we are technically recording engineers.
Right.
Both of us.
So. I don't identify.
No. If you write a song, then you're a songwriter. But if you record something, then you're not a recording engineer.
Yeah.
How does it work?
It's an identity crisis. This is therapy, I guess.
Well, I will say that I am learning recording, and I welcome help from all my wonderful engineering buddies.
Totally. So Moondog, banging on boxes since he was a kid.
Yeah, and then he went on to play drums in his high school band, until he lost his sight at the age of 16 in a farm accident. And this was back in 1932. But he went on.
Farms were dangerous.
Right. He went on to learn the principles of music in several schools for blind young men across Middle America, and he taught himself the skills of ear training and composition and learned some music theory from books. He went to New York, started hanging around with classical music luminaries such as Leonard Bernstein and Arturo Toscanini.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
As well as jazz performer-composers such as Charlie Parker and Benny Goodman.
Yeah.
So he was hanging with an interesting crowd.
The cool cats, as they say.
He might have been the coolest cat from all of them.
Yeah, the original cool cat.
Yeah, so he was in New York from the late 40s till the early 70s. And during this time, he would often be found on 6th Avenue between 52nd and 56th Streets.
On the street.
Just on the street, wearing a cloak and a horned helmet.
Oh.
Sometimes busking or selling music.
Like a devil helmet or like a Viking?
No, like a Viking vibe. Often he was just standing silently on the street. But I
guess devils aren't helmets so much as horns.
Right. I mean, in the Venn diagram, they would both be colored in. And
they're both hats.
That has horns.
Headpieces.
He was widely recognized as the Viking of 6th Avenue by thousands of passersby and residents who were not aware of his musical career.
So he was already a known musician, but just hanging out on the street.
He was known. He was very well known by people on the street who passed by that area regularly, and also becoming known as a musician and composer. Fun fact, he wore the Viking-style horned helmet to avoid occasional comparisons of his appearance with that of a Christ or a monk-like figure, because he'd rejected Christianity in his late teens.
It's another Venn diagram. It's the beard.
Mm-hmm.
Christ on one side and Viking on the other side.
Yeah, so I would recommend checking out his music.
Moondog.
It's really interesting stuff. He took inspiration from street sounds like subways and foghorns, and he characterized what he called snake time and described it as a slithery rhythm in times that are not ordinary. And here's my favorite quote I found from Moondog. He said, "I'm not going to die in 4/4 time."
Yeah, slithery rhythm. I like it. Cool.
So that's what the internet said about beginnings and songwriters.
That's what the internet said.
Oh, I'm going to have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm signed up. That's what the internet said. Let's move on to the main event.
Ding! What did you make this week? What did you make this week? Tell us all about it, 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 tell us all about it. All right.
Okay, are you ready to tell us all about it?
Tell us all about it.
I nominate you to go first and play your song first.
All right, I see how it is.
We haven't held a vote yet, though. I mean, it's still in your hands.
There's only two of us.
But if you vote that I go first, then we'll have to find some other way.
So this works on consensus.
Right.
Yeah. I'll go first.
Okay, thank you. Very helpful. So, what is the title of your song, which is based on the prompt of Beginnings?
Oh, yeah. This is based on just a random phrase that popped into my head when I first thought of the word beginnings. And so the name of the song is This the Beginning of the End? Is this the beginning of the end? The beginning of the end for you? Or is this the new trend? Pick a side now, pick a side now, pick a
side now. There, sitting on the fence. Pick a side now, pick a side now. The truth or consequence, shame or innocence, layer after layer. Pick apart the pattern, all that essence is.
That's a great start to our song podcast. Really, I love it.
Thanks.
I love I love the arc, the swell of the song, the sort of building structure.
Yeah.
And it was so minor and ominous, and then we get that nice big major chord about 2/3 of the way through, and
yeah,
it was very evocative.
Oh, cool. Yeah, sometimes I feel like with music, things become very like impressionistic, like it's all about just like how it feels, and that end section was very much about, I think, just like me just like layering things on one another, kind of like you would layer paint or something, where it just evolves into a thing until you're like, I guess this is what I have, just like this layer and layer of synth. It actually originally had vocals on it, but then the vocals, they just didn't really make any sense, and the thing that I was singing over it was ridiculous, so I had to replace it.
So how did you think of your song? What was the process?
For this one, sometimes what I do when I write a song is I will just completely compose like the form of the song, especially if I'm writing a song like on a computer. This makes it really easy to do, where I can just like come up with like an instrumental part of the song, and then essentially like almost like I'm making like a hip-hop beat, where I'm just like creating this foundational layer that then I'm going to put vocals on top of. So that's how I approached this one. So I started off with that synth line, and then just, figured out where that would go. It transitioned into that more majory section. I just used one synth for the whole thing, and just made a layer. Was like, what does this section need? Found a patch, messed around with it, and then put that on top of that. And then I had the whole instrumental part basically written out. And then I just started singing nonsense over the top of it, basically, until I had that first line popped into my head, because it felt so dark, what I had written.
Right. And so you say you in the song. You say, is this the beginning of the end for you?
Right.
So who is the you that you're addressing?
This is going to be a different answer than the first time.
What first time? This is the first time we're recording it. We didn't do a practice. We don't need a practice.
So the you there, I think I was it immediately, just because things felt so dark. I think that it became about kind of like the current state of affairs in the world, basically.
On a grand scale.
On a grand scale, politically, just like the things that are happening.
Good and evil forces.
And
potential for a bright future or dystopian hellscape.
Yeah, so the you is basically like the thing that's in charge right now, the dystopian hellscape. So it's asking, is this the beginning of the end for you?
Dystopian hellscape should be a prompt in the future.
Yes.
I guess they don't have to be related to music at all. It's just anything.
Right. Just, yeah. I love it. Add it to the possibility basket. So it became about kind of the current state of things. Is this the end? I think it's just where a lot of people are thinking right now is this like this kind of like old mindset that's like rearing its ugly head one last time and then it's like dying off?
God, let's hope so.
The kind of like the next thing that we're like faced with for like a long time. So I think that's where those lyrics started. And then there was a form of it that got significantly darker, which I think is where we'll introduce the truth window.
Truth window.
Do you want to explain what your concept of a truth window is?
Truth window for us is like, hey, real talk right now, with an emphasis on
getting vulnerable.
Things that are embarrassing. Maybe a track you recorded, a vocal track that sounds just insane.
Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah.
So this is us exposing.
Or a feeling.
Yeah, just something that you're slightly embarrassed to share.
All right, I can't wait. I love this segment.
So for this truth window, when I was writing the song, basically the way that I composed the lyrics was that I was just stream of consciousness, just saying the thing that came into my mind, singing along with the track.
You had the track already.
The track was all going, exactly.
Okay, let me try some different words.
So things were getting pretty dark, like thinking about just like whatever dystopian hellscape that we're in. And so naturally, I started singing, just like some kind of member of a cult, just started singing genocide over and over again. So yeah, I got that in my head. For some reason.
You got to start somewhere. You got to
so.
Start from genocide and get to a nice little ditty.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing is that at some point, I think I started, realizing that there words didn't really work in that last section, and so I just
genocide didn't work. Maybe some
words. Yeah, I tried. Yeah, it's true. Chanting genocide over and over again doesn't work in most contexts, probably. But yeah, then I guess the instrumental part just kind of like took over after that and just started, like I was saying earlier, just creating this kind of more impressionistic kind of just like what feeling can I evoke through the composition, basically, just without any lyrics guiding the way.
Well, thanks for sharing that little behind the scenes moment. Truth window. Truth window.
Should we move on to yours?
Yeah. It's funny. I think we're going to find this a lot since we'll be writing on the same prompts as each other every week. But there are a finite amount of lyrical ideas in the world, I'm going to say, because my lyrics also had beginning of the end in it. And they were part of the original idea, the spark of the song. I was thinking about beginnings and I thought, start. It just sounds like sharper and it has a sound that sounds kind of rock and roll to me or something. Yeah. So I wrote, don't start with me. The don't start with me lyric came with a melody and I just captured it quickly on a phone demo and ended up writing this song, Don't Start With Me. Unless you're willing to forgo precious here, we sell ourselves for need. I wanna know what's under the sheet. If you're offering the window dressing of a walking commodity, then don't start with me. Don't start with me. Don't start with me. Unless you wanna see the beginning of the end of my patience. Don't start!
Yes.
All right.
I love that.
Thanks.
It's so funny. We're like so contrarian, both of us. The beginning of the end. Don't start with me.
Right. You gotta test the limits just to know where they are, right?
Yeah. Right. And like fuck authority, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, and it is easier to write songs that have some passion and some meaning behind them, which are defiant in some way, or
totally,
you know, I'm sure we're gonna write some I ate oatmeal for breakfast songs down the road. Like I promise I will have songs of that nature as I'm scrambling Friday morning to finish what is crammed in a busy week playing in a million bands.
So how did you finish this one? What did you start with, actually? So
the initial lyric, "Don't Start With Me," popped into my head with a melody already in it. I was imagining Rick Ocasek. I was thinking of like a Cars, maybe Tears for Fears kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
And I actually have a demo of that initial idea. Don't start with me. Don't start with me. Gotta have the drum beat. The beginning of the end of my patience. Don't start with me. Nice modulation there at the end. Yeah, I didn't stick with that melody on the beginning of the end of my patience thing, but it was a beginning idea. It was enough to get me up and running, and I made a drum beat first that kind of fit with the timing of the lyrics.
How did you make the drums?
I'm a drummer, so usually I just mic up the kit in a very basic way and just play them live. But this time I was trying something new. I downloaded some drum samples from my husband's studio, destinationuniverse.net, and I worked within the grid in Pro Tools and programmed the beat, which was it was a new thing for me, aside from like, I don't know, using old 808s and things like that. But in Pro Tools, it was...
So you made, the first thing you did was make the whole beat for the whole song?
I made the whole beat for the whole song, because as a drummer, I tend to think more in overall drum maps of a song. And usually I will record the drums first and just kind of go along at a nice pace to where I think the instrumental intro and the verses going right, and, you know, step it up somehow on the drums, maybe fill it out for the chorus. And then, you know, I just feel like, oh, it's probably been 32 bars. It's time for a breakdown, you know, and then I will adjust later.
Got it.
If the lyrics or the chord progression wants to take me somewhere else.
So you had the drums written.
And then... So yeah, I plug the drums in to, you know, okay, what do the Cars sound like? Ding, 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 you know, just put the beat in loosely, and then I wrote the verse lyrics. Those are the last to come in.
It's funny that even if you try to like imitate something, like unless you're like actually trying to imitate it, like get the exact tones like in a certain way, like it always comes out so different than
I'm sure. Yeah, and it certainly
that
did not end up sounding like The Cars or Tears for Fears at all. I'll give it like a tiny Stevie Nicks or something, but no, it just didn't. It went in a different direction.
Yeah.
But it's all riff rock to a degree, you know. It's all pop.
It's all riff rock to
music.
me.
It's all riff rock around here. So the next thing I did after I put the drums in and I had the guitar chords is I had to decide what the rest of the lyrics of the song were going to be about and who is the person that I'm telling not to start with me.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, I was thinking, I guess it's aimed at like Instagram normies. Just I don't know. I mean, nothing against them. Just people.
Surface level
folks whose interests are more about normie stuff like wealth and status and, you know, monetary success, all of that type of stuff. And, you know, in my 30s, it's my late 30s, as 1 year too old to be a millennial person. My time is precious, and I love making new friends, and I just want to meet more creative people, people who are vibrant, people who are, you know, focused and have gratitude, and
similar values.
Similar values. I just literally don't have time to form friendships with sort of lukewarm-y normies. Can't do it. So
lukewarm-y normies.
That's why I said.
What about hot normies?
Hot normies, like Instagram models.
I guess that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, that's exactly who I'm talking about.
Hot normies. That should be the name of the song.
Normies of any variety. But you know, that's why I say in the lyrics, I want to know what's under the sheen. And by the way, hearing it back, it sounds like I'm going to say, I want to know what's under the sheets. I mean, that's just my brain saying that. I know that it's sheen because I wrote it as sheen, but you just can't help it. I said, I want to know what's under the sheen. If you're offering the window dressing of a walking commodity, then don't start with me. So it's an anti-starting friendship song.
With the specific people.
Right.
You're not anti-friendship.
I mean, I don't have those friends. If I did, I'd have to write a song like
Stop with me.
Just stop continuing with me.
Stop continuing with me in this way.
Right.
But that's the conversation you don't want to get involved in, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to head it off at the start. Don't start with me, Instagram normies. And then I won't have to write a song later about stop continuing with me.
Yeah.
So all in all, very fun exercise. I had some extra time this week. Yeah. So, you know, I was able to...
Oh, you're trying to temper expectations for future weeks?
I had enough time to flesh everything out. I mean, some of these weeks it's just going to be a guitar with a voice.
Yeah.
A guitar with a vocal.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, it can be anything.
Well, that's part of it, right? We're saying, like, it doesn't... The main thing that we're trying to get at here is just, like, create without judgment, and then... like put it out in the world and just see what happens, basically. Like, don't worry about kind of like the response. It's more about like being a part of the process and seeing what it does to you, like how it opens you up, you know. It's just so...
Oh, and I went to some places. I learned some things. I learned what my voice sounds like singing in a low octave right after having a cold. And actually, I can't believe I almost glossed over my truth window.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to invite you all in to hear how ridiculous my isolated vocal can sound. This is the low harmony at the end. Don't start with me. That, not only does that not sound like me, it doesn't even sound like a person. Like, what? That sounds like a slowed down, like someone went, don't start with me, and then slowed it down.
Right.
Don't start.
Or like a walrus singing.
Right. It was walrus-like. So that was a moment, and you'll notice I kept that take, and it's mixed there.
Yeah.
It's mixed in there at the end.
Yeah.
And I like it with everything. But if you can't stand the sound of your own voice. Songwriting is a process in which you will learn things about yourself and face funny things about yourself.
Yeah.
So just try to make your own truth window and appreciate it. Yeah, and there are so many strategies to songwriting.
Yeah. That's kind of what we're hoping to explore, right? Is just like having fun with it, not taking ourselves too seriously, like just picking a process and seeing what happens when we do that process. So we got to do that for next week, right? What are we going to do next week?
We need to pick a prompt. I was hoping one would emerge during the conversation.
Yeah.
Were there any that stuck out to you?
Nothing specific.
Okay, I've got one in mind. If in the event that we didn't think of one, I do have one in mind.
Here we go. This is that event.
This is the prompt for next week.
Okay.
All right. Finger snaps.
Finger snaps. All right.
Or just snaps. I kind of saved the bombshell for the end of the episode, but I'm a terrible snapper.
Oh.
I can't hardly. Okay, let's listen to my feeble attempt.
That's almost like a kick drum sound.
It does. It does sound like that, especially in the SM7. But I can't. It doesn't. It has the low end, but it doesn't have the snap.
Yeah.
Satisfying snap sound. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at snap.
I might have to enlist you. To snap on my song.
Yeah,
Or I might have to download a sample of someone snapping.
Or just record yourself saying snap.
Snap. Snap. Yeah, it's loose. It's casual.
Yeah.
You could have the.
Yeah, we're not saying you need to have finger snaps in the song.
No, but you could sing about snaps, or you could add snaps. Yeah. Or you could just say, snap, here's my song. Right. No, that's not good enough. It needs to be in the song.
Everything's good enough. The effort is what it's about.
So we're going to do finger snaps.
Finger snaps.
We'll check in with the internet.
I like it.
About other musicians who have employed finger snaps and what the history of finger snapping is in music.
And we hope that people are inspired also to join along, and we'll make a Facebook page where you can share your snapping or whatever the prompt is that week, putting aside kind of judgment and just creating for creation's sake and seeing what happens when you do that. Yeah, Also, if you have any anecdotes, any stories about snaps, about finger snapping, did you overcome not being able to do it? Any stories about finger snaps, you can record a voice memo and email it to honestjams podcast at gmail.com. Yeah. honestjamspodcast at gmail.com.
Send us any voice memos.
Yeah.
Or
anything,
just
really.
Or email.
Yeah.
We will read whatever you have to say about finger snaps. We'll read it on the show.
Or what?
Basically.
Oh yeah. Was that a promise we really want to make?
Well, you will have a chance.
We'll at least read it.
Your story will be reviewed by us. You will know that Walker and Eyal read your little bit about snaps.
Yeah, totally.
So feel secure in that.
We'll read it.
And happy songwriting. Remember, we can bang on pots and pans
and still kick out some honest jams. Honest Jams Podcast is written, recorded, and produced by A. Walker Spring and Eyal Alvis, and edited by me. Share your songs with us on our Facebook group, or email us at honestjamspodcast@gmail.com. Special thanks to Victor Nash at Destination Universe for mixing our theme. Special thanks to Oogie for oogling right along. And thank you for listening. We can't wait to hear what you make.